Ladies, if you have ever overlooked this one warning sign, you may be stepping into something far more dangerous than you realize. And I do not say that to scare you without reason. I am talking about the kind of red flag that does not always look threatening in the beginning. It hides beneath charm. It disguises itself as devotion. It comes wrapped in compliments, attention, concern, and sweet words that can feel comforting at first. But beneath that surface, something toxic is taking root. And if you are not paying attention, it will not simply break your heart. It can slowly take over your mind, your confidence, your sense of safety, and your entire sense of self. I am Liz Rose, a relationship expert, author, and researcher of emotional dynamics between men and women. For years, I have studied attraction, male behavior, emotional intelligence, and the patterns that bring people together or drive them apart. Today, I want to share with you what I've learned through my research, my professional experience, and the thousands of stories I've encountered throughout my journey. This is not about the usual type of irresponsible man. This is not about someone who cheats, disappears, lies casually, or refuses to commit. This is about something much deeper and far more dangerous. It is the warning sign that many survivors and professionals recognize as one of the most serious early signs of an unhealthy relationship. The kind of sign that, when ignored, can pull a woman into a painful pattern of doubt, anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and fear. In some cases, it leads to real physical risk. And the most frightening part is this. You may not realize what is happening until you are already trapped inside the pattern. So listen carefully. By the time you finish reading this, you will understand exactly what this red flag looks like. You will see why it matters so much. You will understand how it starts, how it grows, and where it can lead if it is left unchecked. You will hear the truth behind real experiences, real women, real pain, real survival, and real escape. And if something in this message feels familiar to you, I will also show you what steps you can begin taking right now. But before we go any further, I want you to ask yourself one honest question. Has a man ever made you feel like you had to become smaller just to keep the relationship calm? Have you ever felt like you had to measure every word before speaking? Like his mood controlled the entire room? Like no matter what happened, somehow the blame always found its way back to you? Like his love came with rules you never agreed to but were expected to obey? That is not love. That is control. That is manipulation. And it is one of the loudest red flags you should never ignore. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, but he has never shouted at me. Or, he only acts this way because he loves me so much. Or maybe he is just protective. Isn't that what a loving man does? Not always. Because control often enters quietly. It does not always arrive as anger. Sometimes it begins as intense attention. Sometimes it sounds like concern. Sometimes it feels like being wanted so deeply that you mistake possession for passion. The most dangerous men often do not reveal themselves right away. They know how to seem gentle. They know how to appear trustworthy. They can be warm, patient, generous, and emotionally present in the beginning. They watch you closely. They learn what you long for. They reflect back the version of love you have been waiting to receive. They make you feel seen, chosen, understood, and safe. And that is exactly where the trap starts. Let me paint a picture. He texts you, "Good morning," every single day. He compliments you on things no one else notices. He says, "I just want to protect you." He makes you feel like the most important person in the world. Sounds amazing, right? Sounds like the fairy tale. But then one day, he asks why you did not text back fast enough. He wonders why you are still talking to that guy friend from work. He questions your outfit, says it is not respectful. He says your best friend is a bad influence. It starts small, subtle, easy to brush off. But it does not stop there. It escalates. Always. Because the most dangerous sign in a man is not rage. It is not jealousy. It is not even lying. It is this. He makes you feel like you owe him your entire world, your time, your loyalty, your obedience, your freedom. And here is the twisted part. He will make you believe that is what love is supposed to be. Once he does that, you will start apologizing for things you did not do wrong. You will pull away from your friends because he does not feel comfortable with them. You will stop dressing how you like, Stop speaking up. Stop being yourself. Not because he told you directly, but because he trained you, slowly, consistently, to put his comfort above your needs. And when you finally notice, you are already deep inside the web. Let me be clear. Not every intense man is abusive. Not every protective man is controlling. But if your gut is whispering that something feels off, I want you to listen. Too many women ignore that whisper, and they end up broken, confused, or worse, trapped. So here's exactly what this dangerous trait looks like, and why it tricks even the strongest, smartest women. It is over-attentiveness, not aggression, not anger, not possessiveness in its obvious form. It is when a man seems too good to be true. And then, slowly, it starts to feel like he is everywhere. He is not violent. He is not mean. He is not shouting. He is simply always there, always watching, always caring. He listens so well. He remembers everything you say. He is quick to offer help, advice, and protection, even when you did not ask for it. At first, it feels flattering. You think, he really sees me. He really cares. This must be love. But here is the twist. What feels like care can sometimes be control dressed in kindness. He says things like, text me when you get home so I know you are safe. I just worry about you being around that friend. She seems reckless. You are so special. I do not want anyone else messing that up. I just want to protect you. Sounds sweet, right? It is not. It is a test. He is checking how much of your independence you are willing to hand over in the name of love. And the scariest part? Most women do not recognize it. Because we have been told that a man who constantly checks on you is committed. That a man who gets jealous must really love you. That a man who wants to guide your choices is being protective. But the truth is, love does not try to absorb you. Love celebrates your freedom. He starts with thoughtful comments. I do not think those people respect you. I do not like how that guy talks to you. You should stay in tonight. I had a bad feeling. Then he steps it up. He accidentally shows up where you are. He asks for your passwords, just to feel close. He wants to be on the phone with you while you are out so he knows you are safe. He starts saying things like, I just do not feel good when I do not know where you are. I've been hurt before. I need this to feel secure. He makes it your job to manage his emotions. And slowly, without realizing it, you start shrinking. You question your friends. You hesitate before posting a picture. You think twice before wearing that outfit. You text him back faster. You explain yourself more. You become smaller just to keep his world stable. That is not love. That is emotional erosion. Here is what makes this so dangerous. You think you are the one changing by choice. You think you are being a good partner. You think this is just how healthy relationships work. It is not. This kind of man is not leading with trust. He is leading with fear, guilt, and disguised demands. Safe love says, I trust you. I want you to have a life outside of me. Your friends and your freedom matter. Controlling love says, I just want to be close to you all the time. I worry when I cannot reach you. I need to know where you are to feel safe. One gives, the other takes. And if you are constantly questioning yourself in a relationship that is supposed to feel safe, you are not the problem. This kind of man does not come in like a storm. He comes in like a soft rain, gentle, persistent, drenching, until you wake up one day soaked and wonder how you lost yourself along the way. Example, you tell him you are going out with a friend. He smiles. But later that night, he texts, I just miss you. It is hard not having you here. I guess I will try to sleep without you. You feel guilty. You cut the night short. He wins without saying a single controlling word. That is not a direct command. That is emotional pressure. And emotional pressure over time breaks down your sense of freedom. Another example, you say, I want to take a solo trip. He says, I just do not get why you want to go alone. Are you trying to get away from me? It is dangerous. I do not feel comfortable with that. And you cancel the trip. You think you are compromising, but you are actually conforming. A man who truly loves you will support your expansion, not fear it. He will not try to control you under the mask of care. Real love does not suffocate. It does not need to track your every move to feel secure. It does not treat you like property disguised as priority. If a man's love starts to feel like surveillance, like pressure, like emotional dependence, that is the dangerous sign. That is when it is time to start watching his patterns, not just his words. Now, let me zoom out. Because what you are witnessing is not random behavior. It is not just how some men are. It is not bad communication. It is a pattern, a psychological cycle with a name, a definition, and documented consequences. In my years of research and working with thousands of women, I have come to recognize this clearly as coercive control. Coercive control is not about physical violence, at least not in the beginning. It is about domination. It is about shaping your reality until you no longer trust your own choices. It is about convincing you that his approval matters more than your autonomy. Let that sink in. You are not imagining things. You are not being too sensitive. You are not overanalyzing. This is deliberate, dangerous, and disturbingly common. Based on what I have observed across thousands of cases, in the vast majority of physically abusive relationships, coercive control was present first. The emotional manipulation always precedes the physical harm. Always. So how do you recognize it early, when it still looks like love? Here is what it looks like. 1. Isolation from friends and family. He says, they are jealous of us. They do not really support our relationship. You have outgrown them. What he is doing is cutting you off from your support system, so you have no one to reality check him against. You feel like you are choosing love, but you are surrendering your backup. 2. Monitoring your habits. He says, who are you texting? Let me see your phone. Why did you not tell me you were going there? He is normalizing surveillance, conditioning you to feel guilty for basic privacy. You confuse it with intimacy. But privacy is not secrecy, and you are allowed to have boundaries, even in love. 3. Psychological confusion. He says, you are being dramatic. That never happened. You are misremembering. You are making this a big deal. He is undermining your perception of reality, so you rely on his version instead. When someone you trust tells you your feelings are invalid long enough, you begin to doubt your instincts. That is exactly what he wants. 4. Micromanaging disguised as protection. He says, I just want you to be safe. I know what is best for you. That outfit might give the wrong idea. He is slowly taking over your choices under the illusion of care. At some point, you stop noticing you are asking for permission. You just do it. You change plans, change clothes, stop asking questions. It is easier than arguing. That is compliance, not connection. Now let me talk about what is happening inside you, because this goes deeper than emotions. It rewires the brain. Through my research, I have seen clearly what I call the cycle of trauma bonding. When someone alternates between love and criticism, kindness and control, you begin to develop a deep emotional dependency. It is similar to an addiction. You crave their approval. You fear their withdrawal. Your brain starts to associate pain with love and control with comfort. The hormones released during bonding moments, physical closeness, shared vulnerability, moments of tenderness, become tangled with the adrenaline from conflict and the stress of walking on eggshells. The result is a powerful emotional cocktail. Your brain gets hooked on the highs and terrified of the lows. That is why you stay. Not because you are weak, but because you have been conditioned. You are in a cycle, a loop, a psychological trap. And men who control count on that trap working. So what does this mean? It means you are not crazy. You are not alone. You are not overreacting. It means that if something feels wrong, even if you cannot fully explain it, it probably is. It means your discomfort is data, and it means you must stop minimizing red flags just because no one else sees them. Coercive control does not leave bruises. It leaves invisible scars on your confidence, your identity, and your joy. And if you do not recognize it now, it only escalates. My research and the stories I have witnessed confirm what too many women find out too late. Relationships rooted in control can become genuinely life-threatening. So when you hear a man say, "I am just trying to help you. You do not need anyone else but me. I know you better than you know yourself," ask yourself, is this care or is this a cage? Let me step out of concepts for a moment. Let me tell you about real women, real lives, real relationships that started with love and turned into something unrecognizable. These are not rare stories. They happen every single day, behind closed doors, in nice homes, with men who seem perfectly fine from the outside. Story 1. Sarah. Sarah was 26 when she met Adam. He was charming, attentive, and respectful. He opened her doors, brought her coffee, and remembered her dog's name after one date. He made her feel seen. Every morning, she woke up to a good morning text. He asked about her meetings, her family, her mood. He said, "I just want to support you. I've never cared this much about someone." But things started to shift. One day she casually mentioned a male coworker. Adam paused, then asked, "Do you think he likes you?" She laughed it off. The next day he showed up at her work with coffee. Then again, the following week. She thought it was sweet until he started asking why she took so long in the break room, who she had been talking to, why she had not mentioned that coworker again. She felt watched, but he would say, "I am just being a good boyfriend. I am here for you. I want to see you thrive." When she tried to set boundaries, he cried. He said he just loved her too much and that she was pulling away, so she stopped talking to her coworkers. She ate lunch at her desk. She avoided eye contact. He never yelled. He never hit. But she was shrinking every single day. By the time she realized what was happening, she could not even imagine leaving. She had given up so many people, so many routines, that he had become her only world. That is coercive control. No bruises, but deep emotional isolation. Story 2. Jess. Jess met Mike online. He was successful, articulate, and surprisingly vulnerable. He told her about his childhood pain, said he had trust issues, but felt safe with her. She felt special, needed. 4 months later, he had access to her apartment, her phone, her schedule. It happened slowly. She gave him her passcode because he said he did not want secrets. She shared her calendar so they could sync plans. She stopped posting photos because it made him uncomfortable. Then she tried to end things. She told him something did not feel right, that she felt overwhelmed. That is when the mask fell. He said, "If you leave me, I will send your photos to your job, your parents, your friends." She froze. She had trusted him. She never imagined he would use that against her. She begged him not to. She apologized. She tried to walk it back. He said, "I forgive you. Let us forget this happened." So she stayed, terrified, ashamed, pretending everything was fine. It took months of quiet preparation, gathering documents, courage, and support before she was finally able to leave and file a restraining order. That is coercive control. It is not always physical, but it is always terrorizing. Story 3. Lena. Lena was married for 10 years and had 3 children. Her husband never raised a hand to her, never screamed, never cursed, but he controlled every dollar. She was not allowed to work. She needed permission to visit her sister. He criticized her parenting, her weight, her friendships. He told her she was lucky he did not cheat. She believed him until her daughter asked, "Why does Daddy always get to decide everything?" That question broke her open. She realized she had not made her own choices in over a decade. She was not a wife, she was a possession, and she did not want her children growing up believing that was love. She left. It was hard. He tried to manipulate the process and paint her as unstable. But eventually she won full custody and began rebuilding her life from the ground up. That is coercive control. It does not only happen to young women. It does not only happen in dating. It is everywhere. If these stories hit close to home, I want you to take a deep breath and know this. You are not weak. You are not stupid. You are not alone. You were targeted. You were manipulated. You were conditioned. Because that is how this works. It does not storm in with violence. It seeps in through concern. It wears the mask of devotion. And by the time you realize what is happening, you have already lost your voice, your power, and your peace. But here is the truth. You can get it back. This is not just a relationship issue. This is a safety issue, a mental health issue, a life issue. If you have recognized any of the signs, the loving control, the subtle pressure, the fear masked as affection, then this part is for you. It does not get better on its own. He does not calm down with time, with compromise, or with your love. A man who needs to control you to feel secure will never be satisfied with half control. He wants all of you. Your time, your thoughts, your choices. And if that is what you are living with, you need to do one thing first. Decide that your safety matters more than his feelings. You do not owe him closure. You do not owe him a final conversation. You do not owe him anything that puts your peace, your future, or your life at risk. Here's the plan. Step 1. Document everything. Quietly, safely, consistently. Start collecting evidence without confronting him. Save screenshots of messages where he pressures, guilts, or manipulates you. Keep a private journal of incidents, dates, times, what he said, how you felt, any signs of threats or surveillance. Store everything offline or in secure cloud storage he cannot access. Use a hidden note app. Do not keep anything on shared devices. This is your truth. One day, you may need it. Step 2. Tell someone you trust. This kind of control thrives in silence. If you have been isolated, you may feel like no one would believe you, or that you will seem dramatic. But trust me, someone will listen. Choose carefully. Pick someone outside his reach. A friend he has not poisoned against you. A sibling. A therapist. You do not have to tell them everything. Just say, something is wrong. I think I am in a controlling relationship. I need help staying clear. That one step cracks the silence, and that crack is where the light gets in. Step 3. Plan your exit in secret. The most dangerous time in a coercively controlled relationship is when you try to leave. That is when the mask shatters. That is when threats begin. So you do not simply walk out the front door. You prepare. Secure your important documents, ID, passport, birth certificate, financial records, and keep them somewhere safe, ideally with someone you trust or in a locked location he cannot access. Gather money quietly. Open a separate bank account. Even small amounts add up. If he controls the finances entirely, contact a local domestic abuse organization. Many offer emergency grants and temporary housing. Find a safe place. A friend, a relative, a shelter. It does not need to be permanent. It just needs to be safe. Make sure he does not know where it is. Disable any location sharing on your phone or shared accounts. Step 4. Leave when it is least expected. Do not announce your departure. Do not warn him. Do not give him a final conversation. This is not about closure. This is about survival. Choose a time when he is distracted, at work or out of town. Leave quietly. Once you are safe, change your passwords and block him everywhere. This is where you take your life back. Step 5. Seek help for healing. Leaving does not erase the damage. You will still feel confusion, grief, and guilt. You may still miss him, and that is normal. He conditioned you to need him, but this is the beginning of the detox. It is raw, but it is real, and it is where healing starts. Therapy with someone who understands relational abuse makes a profound difference. Support groups for survivors, many of which are free and anonymous, remind you that you are not alone. Journaling, creative expression, and reading the stories of women who made it through all help you process what happened and reclaim who you are. Healing is not linear, but every step away from him is a step back toward yourself. Let me end with something you may need to hear. You do not need to explain why you left. You do not need to convince anyone he was dangerous. You do not need to defend your right to feel safe. You do not need to prove your worth because you already have it. His behavior is not your fault. His insecurity is not your responsibility. His control is not your cross to carry. You are allowed to leave quietly, boldly, and without permission, because love should never come with a cage, and your life does not belong to anyone but you.